All right, guys. It is Monday, November 13th. It is 10 a.m. I didn't go out this morning. I wanted to sleep in a little bit. And so now it's a late morning. So we're going to head down into the same swamp I shot my doe in this muzzleloader season. And basically, me, my brother, and my dad all hunted here yesterday, and we walked pretty much the entire thing. And we were just looking for where the buck sign may be, and where most of the deer sign was. And on the way other side of the swamp, over by where my doe died, we found a bunch of like scrapes on the ground, and like just this entire finger heading out into the swamp, just littered with buck rubs. I did get a spike horn on my trail camera last night. He actually walked in front of my trail camera 3 different times, so he's clearly just kind of cruising, looping for deer, looping for does. So I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe there might be a deer that moved in here last night, a big buck. I saw 4 deer here yesterday. I jumped 3 of them, and then one of them kind of walked in front of me, but it was walking through it was heading towards thick stuff, and by the time I got my gun up, I couldn't see what was on, if it had any headgear. So anyways, we're going to head down into the swamp. We're going to walk the perimeter, and we're going to see if we can either A, see a deer, B, see any more deer sign, or C, find anything, any new information. So yeah, I got the GoPro hooked up, and let's see what we can do. Alright, guys. We are down in the swamp. And I was gonna put my truck camera up, but the batteries are dead, so all I'm gonna do is just make a big giant circle around this entire swamp, and then come in on that same island that I shot my doe. I'm gonna come in and then come back through and then come back to the truck. But this entire loop should take me like 4 or 5 hours to do. And I'm just gonna take like a few steps at a time, and then I'm gonna stop, and then a few steps and stop. I just jumped a deer. I don't even know how it saw me. It was down in the swamp right here, and it ran back that way. I didn't even move. I'm just sitting here, being quiet. I said the problem is there's no cover, there's no nothing. I'm just kind of pointing my gun around, and it was down in the swamp, and it ran back. So I'm gonna give it like 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna slowly make my way. There's like a finger that comes out, and I'm gonna slowly make my way on the other side of that finger. Alright, so as you can see, this ridge comes down, and there's a deer run. I'm on this deer run, and the deer run goes up and over across the ridge. I don't know if that deer that I jumped ran into this swamp here, or if it came and ran the edge of it and went over the next ridge. I didn't jump it very hard. Like, I was pretty close to it, but I don't know if it just like, I don't know. I didn't jump it very hard though. There's one side of the swamp. If you look past the cattails, you can see some pretty tall trees on the other side. And essentially this swamp, you can just kind of loop this swamp right here. And that is like a place you can walk through. And then there's some spots over there that have some hardwood in it that are kind of raised above the water level. So I'm just gonna work my way through this swamp and just keep dissecting it. And I don't know, I've already saw one deer today. Jumped on the way in. I don't really know what it was, but just gotta keep my eyes peeled. It's just so quiet. There's no wind, so it's really hard to get within striking distance without them seeing you. If I shoot at a deer today, it's gonna be a running deer, that's for sure. That's a good sign. And there's a doe track in there right there. I know there's a small buck in here, and I know that there's a big boy in here. All right, guys. Well, we're starting to walk this like finger line here. But if you look down, I mean, that's a pretty nice run right there. There's a nice buck track right there. There's one right there. So this is just a nice crossway. You can see that they're coming through right there. There's another one right here too. That's a big doe right there. So they're just kind of working their way through here. And they're just working their way across, like literally along the edge of this swamp. And there's a big finger over there. You can see the trees. And so I'm just gonna work my way all the way around there. And just kind of, I don't know, take a gander. Just go for a little walk, a little hike. Enjoy the outdoors. And maybe just put myself in front of a big old buck. This is a really nice buck rub right there. The shavings are on the ground. And there's another one right here. Shavings are on the ground for that one too. There's definitely a buck running in here. Just don't know where he is. Gotta find out. There's a lot of buck rubs in this area. These are two really nice rubs right here. This one you can see the shavings on the ground. This one here you can see the shavings on the ground. You can see like these marks right here. These marks like right there and coming down right here. All these like small marks tell that there's a few different points on these antlers. My best guess is it might be like a basket rack 6 or 5, 6, 7, or 8, to be honest. My guess is a 6-pointer, 6 or 7, but it could be bigger. I mean, I don't know. But you can just kind of tell. I mean, this is a nice, look at this one. I didn't even notice this one. So those are the two rubs. And look at this. Looks like he came through. Give you guys a size for reference. He's probably not a huge racked buck, but he came through and rubbed his brow tines in that. At least, so I don't know. He's probably a nice looking buck, to be honest with you. His hoof tells me that he's big, but I don't know about his antler. These kind of tell me that he's got a nice little rack on him. There's another one. Golly. And there's some poop right there. Let's take a look at this one. So this one has a lot more exaggerated marks in it. I mean, look at that. So that for sure tells me, look at this. He broke this right off there. See that? Broke that right off of there. There's the shavings from there. And you can kind of see these marks right here coming through this wood. This is an entire rub line just right along the edge of this swamp. He's definitely got some decent tines on him. I mean, every time I turn the camera off and I walk 10 feet, there's another rub. This one, you can see he like tore it up pretty well, snapped it right in half. Look at the one over there. I'm gonna walk there. There's a scrape right here. Right there. So this is kind of proof, like, yesterday I walked like 90% of this swamp. I walked all the fingers. I walked the perimeter of it all. I walked like 90% of it. And the majority of the buck sign was back behind me. And, you know, most people would tell themselves like, oh, hey, maybe I should not walk the last 10%. I walked 90 of it. I don't need to walk the last 10. Well, just in the last 10 alone, I've been able to really kind of point out the size of this buck just in the last 10%, at least the rack size. I've been able to kind of point out the size of his rack. I mean, he is just ripping it up in here. This is a nice one too. See the shavings right here? This is a nice one. He is definitely coming through. This is a nice little rub line that he has. I mean, here we are again. That's the rub that I just showed you guys. There's one right there. There's one right there. I'm gonna go take a look at both these. See if it gives me any clues, anything, any new information. This buck is just rubbing the piss out of, like, just rubbing every tree in this area along the swamp. This is clearly his territory. Now this is good. This is good. This is good news right here. First off, this rub is pretty fresh. This rub is pretty fresh. If you look here, he must have some really nice inner tines, because look at all this marking right here that came across this tree. I mean, his antlers must come out here, and he was rubbing, like this is his brow tine, rubbing like that, something like that, I bet. So he's got a nice little basket rack. He's got a nice little basket rack on him for sure. There's another one right there. This is definitely his territory. This is definitely his territory. I didn't know how many rubs that is that we counted today so far. Where's the other one? There's another one right here. I think this buck that's in here, I'd definitely shoot him. This one, oh man. Now I'm getting kind of jacked up, because this one, you can see the marks right here. These marks in this tree, they're very faint. But if he went like this, like this is his brow tine and these are his points. If he was rubbing like this, those tines right there gotta be at least 8 inches. Like 6 to 8 inches between his inner brown tine and his G1 and G2s. So 6 inches is a nice quality buck for Vermont. And you can just tell, I mean, you can just tell right there and right there, and like he scraped this up a little bit as he kept going higher. And then here you can tell that he's got another antler. So there's that. So if I count this properly, he's got one here with his brow tine, he's got a G1 right here, and at least a G2 or a G3 right there. So I bet you, unless he came in something like that, which even still, it looks like his antlers are gonna be nice antlers. I'm excited. I think this buck is gonna be a nice swamp donkey. Alright, well now we just came. We're still on the edge of this swamp. And look at this. It's a nice little buck scrape right here. The doe track in it. I don't know where these deer are at, but I'm gonna find them. It's supposed to start snowing very lightly at 3, but even a light snow I think is gonna offer enough noise coverage for me to continue walking. We got about an hour until that happens, and the wind's picking up a little bit, so we might get lucky and be able to sneak on a deer. It's still kind of loud though, but I don't know. We'll find out. This is pretty cool. So yesterday I walked in here and I flattened out all of this stuff right here with my feet, and then I got that spike horn on truck hammer in here, and he came through 3 separate times. So what I know now, because these are his tracks right here, what I know now is that he came through and he just did a big loop. I think he did it once. He came through, checked something, came back through, and just did a big old circle way around this entire swamp here, because the difference in time between the first time I got him and the second time I got him was about 3 hours. And he walked through my camera, and then did it again. So I know he's making a big loop, because the only place to cross in there is right where my camera is. So if he's heading that way, he's gonna have to go all the way around in order to go back to my camera the same way. And that looks like that's his hoof print right there. Right there. So that's pretty neat. It's pretty neat, because now I'm able to kind of make mental note of what that spike horn's hoof looks like, because I know for a fact it's him because of my camera. So now I'm able to compare the two, compare hoof sizes, so I can start to really diagnose what hoof belongs to what deer. For all you guys that might be curious as to why I didn't shoot that 8-pointer with my bow, and it's because this is the part of the hunt that I really enjoy, and it's coming and it's walking through here with my rifle, and it's figuring out the deer. I just figuring out the rut activity, figuring out everything, and then just trying to make a hunt based off that. Like, I do that with my bow, but I want to do it for like a giant. And even if I don't kill a giant, I'll still settle for something. But it's still the fact that if I shot that deer now, I wouldn't be able to be in here and diagnose this area and diagnose other areas and just continue to hunt hard. Like, at some point you kind of got to settle and you got to shoot a deer, but I just didn't seem like that 8-pointer. The 8-pointer was a nice deer. If he walks out in front of me with my rifle, I'm going to shoot him. But it was just the fact that it was way too early. About 3:30. And I'm basically just going to walk this finger that I walk every time I come in here. See if there's anything bedded. And probably work my way back to the car, and I'll probably be at the car like, I don't know, 30 minutes before daylight, hour before daylight. Then we'll go get some dinner. Hey guys, so as I'm sitting here editing this video, I had a picture come through on my trail camera. So I had went into this area 2 days ago to really dissect everything, and I also had gone in there 3 days ago. And 3 days ago I had set up a trail camera in between two bedding areas that I was able to find that day, and I kind of just figured it was going to be a cruising area where I put the camera up, and lo and behold, I got 4 different bucks, 2 spike horns, a 4-pointer, and this guy. And as you guys can see from the picture, that the size of the antlers was exactly the size that I thought he was based off the information that I was able to pull from the rub line that he left. So it just goes to show that there's a lot of information that you can pull from rub lines and from, you know, sporadic rubs that they might make. And it's really cool to kind of see that the buck that I thought he was turns out to be what he actually is, right? He has the 8-inch G2s and the 6-inch G3s, which is kind of exactly what I had said in the video. So just goes to show that if you're going through an area and you're trying to gain as much information as you can, you know, you have to really dissect these rub lines and this area that this deer is in. So my brother and I are going to go in there tomorrow, and we're going to see if we can lay eyes on him and figure out you know, where he's going. I'm sure he's after a doe that had already gone through my camera before then, but if not and he's just cruising, I think we might be able to get in front of him. So wish us luck. We're gonna have our cameras rolling, and we're gonna see if we can get in front of him and lay him down. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, if you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. See you guys later.